Good morning, business builders. It's Jody here from Top Tip Tuesday. And sorry, I've got to hide that for now. Wrong one, I'm hiding that one. Sorry about the late post into the group for your questions, but if you are watching live, I see that someone is, and you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in. Good morning. I can't see who it is that's saying good morning, but thanks for being here. It's great to have you here. Now, I've just got to get my mic set up. It's all a bit chaotic. I've just come back from Kangaroo Island, so everything's everywhere. Okay. Whilst I'm doing this, let's talk about the lessons that I want to share with you this week. So, hey Lucy, how are you? Good morning, great to see you here. Now, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, just a bit of insight. Every Tuesday morning during school terms, I go live into our Lifestyle Business Builder and I answer questions that our students have to help them design their dream life and build their dream business. I've been away in Kangaroo Island. Whilst I have been away, my beautiful flowers have died. I haven't even cleaned them up. So this is real life, behind the scenes, chaos before you. This is me straight back into a huge week where I'm fully booked. Looks like we're just going to find the new mic to go onto that. Not sure if that's working yet. But either way, I'm pretty sure you can hear me. Here we go. Select a better mic. And hopefully that'll be good. Good morning, Suzanne. Great to have you here as well. All right, so we should have the good mic working now, which hopefully sounds a little bit better. And I want to share with you this week some inspiration from my amazing 3-day mini break in Kangaroo Island. Now, as I said before, if you have questions, please jump in and post them as I go through this live. And I'll get to those once I've shared with you a couple of top tips. Good morning, Fiona. Great to see you here as well. So this is great. We got Lucy, yay. We got Suzanne, fantastic as always. And Fiona all the way over in Perth, which is wonderful. Fiona, I was just reading an email that's come back from you and Amy about your new copy, and I'm excited to go through that. That looks great as well. Great to see that you and Amy are getting some stuff done in that space. All right, so let's talk about building your business and some inspiration from some of the amazing businesses that I got to interact with while I was in Kangaroo Island just recently. And as a small business owner, as well as a business coach, I look at businesses everywhere I go, and I just have this kind of view of, I'll look at, all right, how well are they performing as a business? How do I think they're making money? Is it a good business model? Is it a business that I'd be interested in investing in? If I was their business coach, what would I do to help them? What inspiration can I gain as a business owner from this business? So this is just all the stuff that goes through my head without me consciously thinking of it, because I'm a business coach. And one of the businesses that I was really blown away by was the little general store in Vivon Bay. Now, before I went to Kangaroo Island, I did a call out on our Facebook page and I said, hit me up, I'm off to Kangaroo Island. Where do we go? What do we see and do? And someone suggested the Whiting Burger at the general store in Vivon Bay. And what was really interesting is when we got to Kangaroo Island, someone else suggested, you've got to go down to Vivon Bay and try their Whiting Burger. Then we went to this cool little place called Mini Sahara, which is like all these sand dunes. And we were chatting to the lady there about taking our kids back and going on the sand dunes with them in the school holidays. And she said, well, you guys are pretty close to Vivon Bay. Have you been down to the general store there and tried one of their burgers? And I said, you know what? That is literally what we're about to go and do. And she said, yeah, you better get down there pretty quickly because at lunchtime they get absolutely jam-packed, like they're just flooded. And so I'm starting to think, wow, this is really a thing, this Whiting Burger down at the general store at Vivon Bay. And so we get to there and there's this little old-fashioned looking shop that's like just this small little general store. And as you walk up to the front door, there's a big sandwich board, like a blackboard, and on it, good morning, Michelle, how are you? It's nearly your birthday. Great to see all your celebrations, by the way, at the Intercontinental. So anyway, you get to the front door, and on the sandwich board, it says the house of the famous Kangaroo Island whiting burger. So I'm thinking like, wow, this is actually a thing. We better go in and try it. And so by now, obviously, Jason and I are like, oh my God, this is like, they're famous for it. And they use the term famous, the famous whiting burger. So we ordered them, and thankfully they were absolutely amazing. And sure enough, we left there just raving about how delicious these whiting burgers were. And they were a very simple thing. It wasn't anything major or magical. But I think what was really cool was I left that general store and thought, what a clever business idea. They've become famous for just this one thing. Now, there's a couple of things that they have to their advantage. They are the only place that you can get food down that part of the island. So they've dominated the market just from a geographical space. But they've also become a draw card where people will come from the other side of the island and actually put it on their bucket list of things to do whilst on the island, just to go and have one of these whiting burgers, which I think is pretty cool. Hey, Tony, great to have you here as well. Yes, it was an amazing burger. And Michelle Jules Parson saying, I've never heard about this whiting burger and I've never even been to KI. Well, guess what? Now you have, because news like this travels fast. And when a business is famous for something and then they deliver on that, people like me get online or share with their friends and they spread the word, and more people go. So this is something that's already out there. People are already raving about it. And I did a post about it afterwards on my Facebook page, and a couple of other people who I don't know commented and tagged their friends in it and said, oh my God, this is like the whiting. She's talking about the whiting burger we had when we were there. And I said, I hope you thought it was delicious. And she said, yes, we still talk about it to this day. So it got me thinking about you guys and your business and all of the different things that you could be famous for. And this is the real inside gold. The general store is a general store. If anyone's going to fall into the trap of being a generalist, it's going to be the general freaking store. But the general store is not famous for being a general store. They're famous for doing one thing, the whiting burger. And this is a big thing that I talk about a lot in our program, in the Lifestyle Business Builder program, as well as in the case study, is you don't want to be famous for a whole bunch of things, but instead you just want to be famous for one thing. Become famous for one thing. So I've got a series of questions I want to ask you. I'm just looking for where my pieces are. Here we go. Here they are. So I thought, all right, this might be a bit of fun. Imagine you are the general store in Kangaroo Island, and instead, let's just imagine you are a service provider in your industry, because obviously you're all coaches, consultants, and educators. And I want you to think about, what is one thing that you could become famous for? And I've got 7 questions that you might like to ask yourself. So the first question is pretty straightforward. What do my clients want more than anything else? And you might even want to write these questions down as we're going through them, because as we work our way through these questions, it will help you come up with, right, what is the one thing that I could be famous for? So firstly, what do my clients want more than anything else? Then, what do my clients actually need more than anything else? And so when we're looking at wants and needs, often a client will come to you thinking, I really want this, but you, knowing your industry and the insight that you have from all your experience, you'll realize that actually what they need is that. So I want you to answer those 2 questions first. Then, what do my competitors do really, really well? And I recommend that you think about this and you give them kudos and credit for it, and don't try and do what your competitors are already doing. So I don't spend a lot of time as a business owner studying my competition because I just think it's a really unhealthy space to fall into. It can have you then try and feel like you have to copy them or be like them or compete with them directly. But I think it's interesting to just be aware of what's going on in the industry and go, you know what do my competitors do really well? For example, in my space, selling high ticket coaching programs, business coaching, helping people build a successful coaching business, I think my competitors do really well in filling rooms of hundreds of people and then pitching from stage to sell really expensive programs to lots of people at one time. So a lot of people in my space can literally close a room and make $500,000 to $1 million in a matter of hours. I think some of my competitors are exceptional at that. But here comes the next thing, and I don't do that, and I don't really aspire to do that either. I mean, I'd love to make $500,000 to $1 million in a couple of hours, but here's the next question. What's the downside of what they do really well? And this is where I zoom in and go, okay, this is my opportunity. Because I think the downside, and trust me, I've been one of the people that's bought in the room where they're making $500,000 to $1 million in a couple of hours. The downside is because they're selling so many people into such a high value program at one time, those people become a number, not necessarily a human, and they very rarely get to know deeply and personally that individual's business needs and vision and mission. And so there's a lack of personal support, personal engagement from the mastermind or the head of the business, the lead coach, the facilitator, the guru on stage. So that's the next question that you want to ask is, what's the downside of what my competitors do really well? Then question 5, what thing do my competitors fail to do? Well, this might be one in the same answer, but I think what my competitors fail to do is provide genuine one-to-one support where the individual feels like you are literally on my team. I don't think my competitors do that very well. They're instead providing an experience to a large group of people to go through a program together, and it's very easy to become a number. So I want you to think about that. What one thing do my competitors fail to do? Then, what can I do better than anybody else? So what is the thing that you can do personally in your space better than anybody else? So Vivon Bay General Store, better than anyone else in their area, could do an amazing whiting burger. They're getting fresh whiting straight from the ocean there, and they're doing it on this lovely bread that's like this big long bread, and they've just decided we're going to own that space. It's not that we sell the best milk or the best bread or we have the best customer service in the store. We're going to make this amazing burger, and we're just going to do that better than anybody else on the island. And they have. I honestly reckon they have. And then the 7th and final question is, as a result, what will I become famous for? So those are just 7 questions that you might want to go through and ask yourself, right, in my business, rather than me trying to be good at a whole bunch of things, or rather than me trying to serve everybody with everything that I do, what about positioning yourself as famous for just this one thing? And if you did that, what would it mean in your marketing messages, in your positioning, and in your branding? And how much better would that be for you in your business to just really become famous at this one thing? So Michelle's got a comment here. What is she saying? I'm clearly looking after the dead whiting. Well, yes, it is dead for us to be able to eat it. Absolutely, Michelle. So I just wanted to share that tip with you based on my experience at the general store. Another really cool business that we went to in Kangaroo Island was the Emu Bay Lavender Farm. And I got to meet the owner there, Sophie, who took over the business about 3 years ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago, when it was pretty run down and it had sort of fallen off the map of places to go and see and do over in Kangaroo Island. She came in with a real passion for catering and feeding people, and so now it's become a real hot spot for food, particularly for morning tea. And what they do really well is they've got this kind of abundance, and they're very kind and generous, and you walk in there and they're super friendly. But their scones are like giant scones. And I know when I was traveling around America, and I thought, you know what? The Americans do this so much better than the Australians. When you go to a shop and you ask for a bit of avocado on the side or on your sandwich or whatever it might be, the Americans give it to you in abundance. Whereas here in Australia, if you say, oh, can I have some avocado on that? They're so scarce. They'll like say, yeah, that's an extra $2 for this tiny slither of bit of brown stale avocado. And so I think that's a really nice thing in business as well, is to give in abundance rather than be scarce or frugal or tight, like so many businesses can be here in Australia. So those are my top tips for you guys this week. Another great tip is, as a business owner, when you go out into the world and interact with other businesses, have your business eyes open and look at these businesses and go, what can I learn from them? What do they do really well? And what are they not doing so well that I don't want to fall into the trap of doing? You know, we went to another business there called the Oyster Farm. As you're going over to Kangaroo Island, on the screen, they have obviously ads for all the different businesses and the places to see, the places to go and see and do. And one of them is the famous Oyster Farm over there, which is this cool, quirky little place in American River. And they have this kind of very shack-like setup where they serve oysters and marron and little abalone, which is baby abalone, and they're renowned for their seafood. And again, it's got a really cool vibe. It's very interesting, but because of coronavirus, they couldn't have very many people in the shop, so you had to sit outside, and, you know, it wasn't as buzzing as I'm sure it normally is right now. But it was interesting when we were there, you know, marron is not the cheapest of stuff. So marron is, for those of you that might be wondering, is like a freshwater lobster. It's essentially like a giant yabby. And it's delicious, by the way. So it's sort of like a prawn. I love the KI marron too. Lucy says loves the KI marron. It is the most delicious stuff. And so in the Oyster Farm, you can get 3 different sizes. You can get the small, the medium, or the large. And the large one is $47 per marron. And so Jason and I were there and we thought, well, let's go all in. We'll get a large one each. But they were quite tiny. So, you know, it's like $47 each for this tiny little marron. Like, I'm not exaggerating. It was about probably that big, and the meat that you get on it is probably about that much. So it's a very small amount, $47 amount of stuff. And then they have this tiny little abalone, which is about 16 or 17 bucks. And it was still a nice business, and I enjoyed it, and I would recommend going there. We didn't have the oysters, probably should have, because that's what they're famous for. But on my list was to eat some marron somewhere, and that was the only place that we could find it because a lot of places were shut. And we went there straight after we went to the Emu Bay Lavender Farm. So what was really interesting was the dynamics of a business that gave you a lot for a very small amount. So morning tea at the Emu Bay Lavender Farm cost $34. And Jason and I joked because I was picking up the wrong tabs. He picked up the morning tea tab where we had 2 coffees, scones, profiteroles, what else did we have? This little custard tart. Like, there was just too much. We couldn't eat it in the end. We had to take some takeaway on a chocolate brownie. So we had 4 serves of morning tea and a coffee each, and it was all of it was like 34 bucks. And then we went to the marron place, the Oyster Farm, and the tab there was like 134 bucks. And we had 2 marrons, and we shared a serve of abalone and a beer each. And I was like, bloody hell, I'm picking up the wrong tabs. And I said to Jace after we left, would you go back there? What did you think? He was underwhelmed by it. And I liked it as a business. I thought it was quirky. It was a nice place to hang out, but I realized it was super expensive. And he said, you know, I just think they've got the whole ratio of give and take all wrong. When we go to the Emu Bay, they give more than they take. And you can see that the owners is investing back in her business. She's making the place better than it has been before. She's upgraded the kitchen. She's upgraded the interior. She's investing in great quality staff. And you can see that what they take from their clients, they give back in continuously improving the experience and providing amazing service. So they've got the give-take ratio really well. And he said, but you know what? I just think that the oyster farm do it the wrong way. You feel like they're taking more than they're giving. There's not a sense of abundance. They haven't upgraded their place for some time. It's a bit rickety and run down. The service was okay, but not amazing. Still a great business, and I recommend going there. But it was an interesting perspective from Jace, the give-take ratio. And I went, yeah, that's true, actually. And here's the thing, when you have the give ratio really high in your business, clients will just come back to you all the time. But if the take ratio is higher than your give ratio, chances are you'll get clients, but they won't continue to come back. So you'll be forever hunting for more clients. So that's another really nice thing that I like to do in business, is always give more than you take. And give more than people expect. And this is one of the things that I love about, working with you guys in the Business Builder. Everybody in our space probably does that so far, maybe too far to the give, where they give so much of themselves that they're almost giving it away for free. And this is another really important thing to recognize as well. We need to, in business, be brilliant at giving and providing abundance, but we also need to know how to take. So one of the things that I see happening a lot in the Business Builder is you guys are incredible givers. You give, you give, you give. But some people genuinely struggle with the art of taking and receiving the money, getting clients to pay what they're worth, and things like that. So it's a nice little thing, hot tip around that. What do you give versus take? Michelle's got as a massive giver, someone who is always giving and generous. Let's read what she says. I agree, Jody. Generosity in business is your best foot forward. Abundance is very important. I always give 150% and charge 100%. You do. And I love, Michelle, that you have become better at the taking. And so what I mean by that is charging your worth in the last couple of years, but you've not let it take away from anything that you do. In fact, in terms of business owners, you are one of the best givers I know. You are really, really mastering the art of that as a strategy. I always give families personalized services and hard copy printed services, and nothing is generic. It's seen me in good stead. In fact, it's what's made you one of the most high value celebrants in the state here in South Australia. So it's a strategy that absolutely works, folks. And if you ever want hot tips on how to do it, I recommend getting around Michelle Jules Parson, because she's even someone who inspires me in that space. I watch what she does in her business for her clients and how she invests in not just her clients that she works with, the families, but also in the funeral homes and the service providers that she partners with to actually get contracted work. She is a remarkable giver in that space. So it's great to have you here on the line and being able to contribute. All right, folks, those are my ramblings from KI. Top tips, remember, become famous for one thing. Be abundant in your business and get the give-take ratio right. So, don't give too much without being able to take. Don't take too much without strategically giving back. Get that balance just right. And a lot of that is because of you, Jodes. Thank you, Michelle. You know what? You were already doing it in so many great ways, but I think what I've loved about working with you is I've just been able to help you up the ante from a business perspective, grow the business commercially, financially, because a lot of people start their business with an idea to just do amazing work and be an incredible service provider, but then they don't think strategically, what's the business model? How do we scale? How do I build myself out of the business hours but still make income? That's the stuff that I love to do with you guys more than anything else. And it's been an absolute thrill doing that with you, Michelle, and seeing you in the last couple of days truly live up the 5-star lifestyle at the Intercontinental here to celebrate your upcoming 50th birthday. I've loved seeing you do it in style every step of the way and watch your quality of life just continuously improving with you and Rick, which is great. Love it. Hey, Trish, how are you? So, Trish, I've just finished my top tips for the morning. I'm just hanging around in case anyone has any last questions. Let me know if you do. If you don't, that's totally fine. I'll wrap it up. Now, hot tip in the Lifestyle Business Builder, we've got the coaching call as always, 10 a.m. this morning, so 10 till 12 if you want to jump on and get some personal support from me. The other thing we have is tomorrow morning, the Make Money While You Sleep masterclass, where I'm actually going to be talking you through the steps to building your online evergreen program, if that's on your to-do list. We've got the Goals Club tomorrow night. For those of you that are in it, that's here. And what else have we got coming up this week? It's a pretty big jam-packed week. And then on Thursday, we're doing Meet the Masters Masterclass with our copy and PR guru, Amy Chandler, who's now Amy Springfield, married and baby on the way. So Amy is the founder of The Edge PR, and she's actually doing the one-day masterclass for our boot camp as well. By the way, the boot camp is coming up, 4-day boot camp. I've only got one spot left. If anyone wants it, it's the Scale Up Boot Camp, and that's happening September the 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. Let me know if you want a place to that. We're doing webinars, copy, PR, joint ventures, all of the cool things that you can do to scale up your business. Lollipops, lead generation machines. It's a pretty epic 4 days. You're going to love it. And then on the 10th and the 11th, we've actually got our 2-day NLP masterclass here in the Life Design Studio. If you want to spend 2 days with Tony unpacking her NLP toolkit, which is the same toolkit she's used to transform herself in her own business and scale from last year as in just kind of not making any serious money to now at a point where she's doing about 20 grand a month consistently. NLP really is the secret sauce for Tony and how she's been able to do that, not just as a service provider teaching people NLP, but applying the techniques to her own mind and breaking through all of the thresholds and barriers that were holding her back. So 2-day NLP masterclass, 4-day boot camp coming up in September. But this week, remember, Make Money While You Sleep tomorrow, and then Thursday, Copy and PR Tips mini masterclass with Amy Chandler, actually now Springfield because she's married. All right, that's it from me. Thanks everyone for tuning in for this week's top tips. I hope you have a wonderful morning. And for those of you that are joining me, I'll see you on the coaching call soon. That's it from me. I'm wrapping it up.